My husband and my sister were true lovers. To defy the world's judgment, they drank pesticide right in front of me. After my husband's death, I discovered he had left behind a mountain of debt. I worked myself to exhaustion to pay it off, only to collapse and die from overwork. Yet after my death, my husband and my sister miraculously returned to life. Covering her mouth, Linda giggled softly. Brother was right, you really are an idiot. Only then did I realize they hadn't drunk pesticide at all that day. It was cola. Their deaths were faked, nothing but a scheme to make me shoulder their debts while they enjoyed their freedom. In this life, I acted first. I mixed real pesticide into their beloved cola. Big sister, Kyle and I truly love each other. You've had him for so long, can't you give him back to me now? Linda clung to Kyle's hand. Her face pale, eyes filled with fear as she looked at me. If Kyle weren't my husband, I might have applauded her passion for love. Kyle frowned, shielding her behind him. His gaze toward me was filled with barely concealed disgust. Nina, you've got plenty of men chasing after you. One more, one less, it doesn't matter. But Linda's different. She only has me. He sighed, eyes melting with tenderness as he looked at her. Besides, she's your only sister. Do you really want her to live her whole life unhappy? It's fine if I make a small sacrifice, but you. Don't be so selfish. Okay? Listening to the shameless words coming from his mouth, I nearly laughed out loud. Adultery was adultery, why dress it up in such noble rhetoric? Seeing the mockery in my eyes, Linda's eyes reddened. My mother, distressed, turned to urge me. Nina, just agree with your sister. You're the elder one, don't fight her for things. My mother had always favored my sister, simply because she was better at pouting, more lovable. After my father died, our family lost its income. To ease my mother's burden, I dropped out of school and went to work to pay for my sister's tuition. But now it seems, 10 years of sacrifice couldn't compare to one man. The sister I had raised so carefully had become a heartless traitor. Looking at the girl before me, still trying to manipulate me with guilt, my heart went cold. I forced a faint smile and said softly, "Keep dreaming." Linda pouted and began crying right in front of me. She and Kyle exchanged a glance, each pulling a small bottle from their pockets. I warned coldly, "Think carefully. What's more important, love or life?" Linda gave me a pitying look, her voice lofty and scornful. "Sister, love is priceless. How could you ever understand what Kyle and I share?" Before my mother could stop them, the two clinked their bottles and tilted back their heads. "Sister, are you satisfied now? We drank pesticide, we'll die for sure. If we can't be together in this life, we'll be a pair of doomed lovers in death. At least then you'll open your eyes." They embraced passionately, smiling triumphantly at me. My mother, trembling, picked up the bottle from the floor, her face turned ashen, tears streaming down her cheeks. "How could you drink pesticide? My poor daughter." Their performance was flawless, painting me as the cruel villain who drove him to death. It wasn't the first time they'd used moral blackmail against me. I lowered my head to hide the smile curling at my lips. Since they ignored my final warning, I could only wish their dream would come true. They would never have a mad, and that the cola they proudly drank had already been laced with real pesticide. Chapter 2. In my past life, Linda had done the same, threat and to drink pesticide unless Kyle divorced me. Terrified she might actually do something foolish, I hesitated only a moment before agreeing. But it was already too late. I could only watch helplessly as the two of them drank, intending to die together. Unable to face my grieving mother, I spent the last of my savings trying to save them. Yet a few days later, they both died. From that day on, I became the sinner of the family. Insults and beatings became routine. My mother even branded me a murderer, spreading lies that I had driven my sister to her death. Everyone despised me, treating me like a curse. Along with the news of Kyle's death came the revelation of his enormous debt. As his legal wife, I was forced to inherit it. I worked day and night to pay it off, until my body finally gave out. Even then, I couldn't bear to spend money on treatment. When I lay dying, the husband and sister who should have been long dead came back to life. Linda gazed at my frail, bony frame. Covering her mouth as she laughed. Brother was right, you really are a fool. But we should thank you for paying off our debts. Sister. Only then did I realize the truth. They had never drunk pesticide at all, it had been cola. They faked their deaths. Left me to bear their burden. And let me die in despair. Fortunately, I was reborn. The first thing I did upon returning was to mix real pesticide into their precious cola. Didn't they want to be star-crossed lovers? As a good sister, how could I not fulfill their wish? Linda clutched her throat, coughing softly, patting softly, her eyes full of feigned grievance. In the past, whenever she looked at me like that, I would soften, giving in to her every demand. She had always known how to strike at my weakness. But now that I had seen her true face, her pitiful act only made me sick. Seeing me unmoved, Linda stomped her foot in anger and stormed out the door. Ka followed her without even glancing at me, his lawful wife. My mother came up, trembling with rage, and slapped me across the face. Are you happy now? After hurting your sister like this? I should never have given birth to a beast like you. I swallowed the metallic taste in my mouth and slapped her back just as hard. She froze, stunned, never expecting I dare defy her. You wretched thing. How dare you hit me? Get out and kneel outside. Let the neighbors see what a disgrace you are. You tried to kill your sister and husband. And now you dare raise your hand to me? I gave a short laugh. This house is mine. What right do you have to throw me out? If anyone should leave, it's you. Chapter 3. That night, Linda stormed back, demanding to know if I had bullied our mother. I looked at her and almost laughed. All those years, I worked myself to death to support those two parasites. And they repaid me by driving me to my grave for the sake of a man. Since they had chosen that path, I saw no reason to be merciful. Seeing my indifference, Linda whimpered, pretending weakness. Sister, I'm dying. Must you still treat me this way? I sneered. What does your death have to do with me? You drank it yourself, I didn't force you. If you regret it, go to the hospital. Stop putting on this pathetic act in front of me. Linda didn't expect me to pierce her so mercilessly. Her face flushed and paled in waves. All she ever knew how to do was threaten me with death. Maybe that had worked in a past life in this one. I only regretted that I couldn't personally send her off. Linda was silent for a moment. Then suddenly looked up at me. A hard, vindictive glint in her eyes. Sister, she said, you'll regret this. I arched an eyebrow. What tricks could a sheltered greenhouse princess possibly have? For her to bluster about my regret was downright laughable. A smile threat, and to escape me. Linda was pretty. And with a little help from me she rode the internet boom to become a small online celebrity. Thanks to my careful management, her follower count was closing in on 300,000. Late at night, she updated her short video feed behind my back. The stills showed her and Kyle in a tender embrace. Their eyes locked on one another as if the world had narrowed to only them. Anyone who saw it would gush about how perfectly matched they were. Beneath the picture she added a caption in small type, if lovers cannot stay together, better to go down together. When that clip went live, fans swarmed her comments to check on her. Linda seized the moment, she posted to empty bottles of pesticide the ones she drunk and immediately went live. 10,000 viewers flooded in the instant the stream began. Her eyes rimmed red. Her voice hoarse. She bowed to the camera. Thank you all for your concern. Unfortunately, my life is about to end. But dying together with the one you love, isn't that a kind of happiness? Please don't cyberbully my sister. She only wanted to use me to make money. But I know she always cared for me. She turned to Kyle. Folded into him with aching affection like a frail white lotus seeking its single refuge. And every viewer melted into pity. The comment section exploded. No, what the hell is wrong with that sister? She actually forced our Linda to drink poison. That sister is a murderer. She can't stand to see Linda with true love, there's something seriously wrong with her. Amid the vile slurs, Linda's eyes shone with a perverse pride. I hadn't expected her to be so shameless as to weaponize the things I'd given her against me. A few fans defended me. But the moment anyone asked why Kyle, who wasn't my husband, was so intimate with her, a horde of diehard stans descended and drowned them out. Kyle gripped Linda's hand. And the two of them proclaimed their invincible true love in the live chat, while the comment feed cheered them on. My temples throbbed. I reported the stream without hesitation. Since when did a scumbag and his side piece act so brazenly? Weren't they courting their own downfall? Soon enough, the platform shut Linda's stream down. Even the lavish gifts fans had sent to prove their true love were forcibly returned. All that night's effort, not a single cent turned. I closed my laptop, about to rest, when someone kicked my bedroom door open. Mina, open the door. What are you hiding in there for? You coward? Weren't you the one who reported us? Linda's been crying. Go apologize right now. Kyle's furious voice came through the door, fear to demand justice for his little lover. I yanked the door open and met Kyle's eyes head on. He frowned, grabbed my arm to pull me outside. But I scornfully shrugged him off. My voice went cold. Don't forget you're still my husband. This counts as cheating. Who pulled you out of the mud back then? Is this how you repay me? He spat. When I first met Kyle, he had been beat, and so badly 2 of his legs were broken. He sat shrunken in a hospital chair with no money for treatment. I scraped together what little I could and saved his life. Linda sneered at the time, calling me foolish for rescuing a stranger. Truth be told, she had been right. Kyle hesitated for a moment. Then, Mudalamo sigh, embarrassed and furious, blurted, "So what? Even if you saved me, I've always loved Linda." His face paled. He clutched his mouth and coughed twice from the strain. I looked down at him with the faintest contempt. You should go to the hospital. He wouldn't listen. Reflexively he answered. You don't understand. Even if I die with Linda, I'm willing. I nodded and glanced toward the doorway where Linda stood, watching me with victorious eyes. I smiled with an alien. Settled calm. I'd given them chances. If they couldn't be taught like human beings, and they could die for all I cared. All her life Linda had taken what was mine: mother's affection, a husband's warmth. Whenever she saw something she wanted, she'd snatch it away. Seeing the things I treasured slip from me gave her a trusted satisfaction. I still couldn't understand how the little sister I had raised with so much effort could become like this. The next morning, as soon as I got up, I found my mother sitting in the living room with a sullen face. When she saw me, she sneered in that thin, mocking tone. Why are you like a pig? Only coming out now? Are you trying to starve us to death? My mother had retired. Linda was still in school. Kyle had quit his job under the pretense of accompanying Linda. I was the only one working, responsible for all their meals. I drew a slow breath, about to reply, when Kyle's panicked voice rang from inside the room. Mom, come quick. Linda's having a relapse. Chapter 4. My mother stumbled into Linda's bedroom. Linda lay pale on the bed, clutching her stomach, coughing uncontrollably, having fulfilled her blire. When she saw me enter, she curled her lips into a mocking smile. Sister, look at me like this. Are you satisfied? Kyle wept as he held her. Their fingers interlaced, but I knew every bit of this was an act for me. Even if Linda had actually swallowed the pesticide, it would only be in the early to middle stage. She wouldn't look like this. I sighed, picked up a tube of lipstick from her dresser, and hurled it to the floor with a vicious crack. Linda's eyes widened. She cried out, Nina, how dare you throw my things? I looked at her innocently. You're dying anyway. I'm just being charitable, sending these things down with you early. Linda pointed at me with trembling fingers, too furious to form a sentence. Her prized cosmetics and designer bags filled nearly half her room. One by one, under her shattered stare, I smashed them, tore them, shredded them on the floor. Finally Linda couldn't hold on. She wailed and lunged forward, clutching her bag to her chest. Sis. I'm fine. I'm fine. Don't break them. Kyle and my mother exchanged an uneasy glance, both looking a little embarrassed. After all, the elaborate show they had staged for me had just been exposed with ridiculous ease. I couldn't help but smile as I looked at them. Seems I'm quite the miracle doctor. One look, and my dear sister's all better. Neither dared meet my eyes. Linda glared at me, her voice shrill. Nina, you're too selfish. No wonder Kyle doesn't love you when you're so controlling. Why won't you just let him go? I arched a brow and crouched down beside her. Fine, I said softly. I agree to the divorce. Linda stared at me in disbelief. When I leaned closer and repeated it, she grew so excited she immediately gave Kyle a look. I caught the flicker of hesitation in his eyes. He knew that once we divorced, the mountain of debt would no longer be mine to bear. To push Linda further, I added casually, "Of course. I won't leave you helpless." Her eyes lit up instantly. She jumped to her feet and clung to my arm, tugging me toward the door in a hurry. "Come on. Let's go to the Civil Affairs Bureau right now." When Kyle hesitated again, Linda pouted and cooed, "Kyle, even if you and my sister get divorced, what's mine is hers. Don't worry. Everything will be fine." Reassured by Linda's promise, Kyle finally agreed. The moment the divorce certificate was in her hands, Linda wasted no time registering her marriage with Kyle. She beamed at me as she slipped on her new ring. "Sis, thank you for giving Kyle to me." And I silently thanked her for taking over Kyle's mountain of debt in my place. Chapter 5. After their wedding, the two of them flaunted their forbidden love on live streaming platforms. Their shameless devotion a love to pure for the world was hailed by knobby teenagers as a symbol of defiance against outdated morality. With their attractive looks, their fame skyrocketed, and their income doubled. Fans flooded their live stream chat with concern for their health, urging them to get a checkup. But Linda just laughed it off. "Love conquers all," she declared sweetly. "A little insecticide can't harm us." Right there, under the watchful eyes of thousands online, they swore never to go to the hospital. I simply sat in silence, watching them court their own destruction. Over time, their health visibly declined, but blinded by sudden wealth and attention, neither cared. They treated their symptoms like a simple cold, popping random pills as if it were nothing. After their marriage, Linda and Kyle were inseparable, constantly flaunting their affection in front of me. I pretended not to see. When my indifference didn't satisfy her, Linda snorted and warned, "Don't you dare try to steal Kyle back." I looked up at her briefly, amused. That kind of scum? Only an idiot like her would want him. Some time ago, I had secretly taken Kyle's ID and taken out another massive loan in his name, consider it my compensation for all the years I'd wasted on him. Now, while he basked in love with Linda, he probably hadn't realized his debt had already multiplied several times over. "Oh, by the way," Linda said coyly, curling her lips into a smug smile, 3 days from now is our wedding banquet. You'll come, won't you, sister?" Of course I'd come. I just wondered if the two of them would still be standing by then. On the day of the banquet, Linda arrived in a custom-made wedding gown, dripping in luxury. She'd invited a swarm of shallow socialites and declared that she wouldn't be accepting any gifts, playing the role of a generous new money bride. Kyle wasn't thrilled. He had planned to use the gifts to pay off debts, but he bit his tongue and smiled. When I first met Kyle, both his parents had remarried, and neither cared about him. I was the one who told him to cut ties with them, to stop feeding the leeches. He obeyed without question. But now, both of his parents sat in the front row, glaring at me with open hostility. So he reconciled with them behind my back, and I was once again the outcast. I lowered my gaze, sipping my tea. Let him reap what he sowed. He had no intention of wasting emotion on someone so worthless. Even under layers of makeup, Linda's face couldn't hide its sickly pallor. I watched her walk down the aisle and exchange rings with Kyle, sealing their vows with a passionate kiss. Then, let out a low sigh. Both of them turned their eyes toward me. "Sis," Linda said sweetly, her voice dripping with mock innocence, "thank you for giving Kyle to me. You do wish us a lifetime of happiness, don't you?" Her wide, glistening eyes looked almost angelic. "After all, we're the ones truly in love, aren't we?" Spotlights flared on me. The guests whispered behind their hands. It was clear to everyone that Linda was deliberately humiliating me. But not one person spoke up. I smoothed my hair and met her gaze. She had no idea I'd prepared a wedding gift just for her. One she'd never forget. Before her triumphant smile could settle, a group of burly debt collectors burst into the hall. "That bastard Kyle's got money for a wedding, but none to pay us back," one shouted. "Pay your debts, punk." Kyle's face drained of color. He staggered backward. But the leader's eyes locked on him. Kyle. If you don't pay up today, we'll camp right here and shut this wedding down. I hid a small, satisfied smile. My little tip-off had worked perfectly. Linda and Kyle, who spent money like water, didn't have a cent left to their names. Repayment was impossible. As murmurs rippled through the crowd, Linda bit her lip and turned to me, eyes brimming with false stares. You should ask my sister, she cried suddenly. She has money. I raised my hands in mock apology. Sorry, but I'm just the ex-wife. His debts have nothing to do with me. Linda's eyes widened in disbelief as I shrugged. She changed her mind on me plenty of times. Why shouldn't I return the favor? The debt collectors grew impatient and began smashing tables. Screams filled the hall. Linda's face twisted in panic. And moments later, she coughed up a mouthful of blood. The bright red splattered onto the floor. She froze, then collapsed in my mother's arms amid her hysterical cries. Chapter 6. There's nothing we can do. Her organs are already in full failure. Even if we tried to save her, it's too late. Linda had barely opened her eyes when the doctor delivered her death sentence. He sighed regretfully. Why drink insecticide at all? If you'd come in a few days earlier, she might have had a chance. He didn't get to finish. Linda's shrill scream cut through the room. Liar. What insecticide? I didn't drink any, I drank cola. Her eyes were bloodshot, and in a fit of uncontrollable emotion, she turned to the side and vomited another mouthful of blood, dark and foul-smelling. I covered my nose and took a step back. Kyle, trembling, stopped the doctor, who was shaking his head and preparing to leave. I think I drank the poison too. The doctor frowned and took him away for examination. When the results came out, it was as if his death sentence had been read as well. I looked at the two of them soulless, each lying on a hospital bed, and couldn't help but laugh behind my hand. Sister, I said softly, weren't you two drinking pesticide? You've always dreamed of becoming a pair of doomed lovers, haven't you? Now that the end's near, shouldn't you be happy? My words must have struck a nerve, because Kyle suddenly lurched from the bed, his face twisted with rage, and lunged at Linda, his hands closing around her throat. You bitch. Did you give me the real poison? Linda struggled wildly, tears streaking her terrified face. No, I swear. I switched it for cola. I don't know why it turned out like this. Kyle had always been selfish. Now, with death staring him in the face, he could only throw blame on anyone, even the woman he claimed to love. My mother screamed and rushed forward, shoving Kyle off. Linda, she's your wife. How can you hit her like that? Kyle was already weak. The push sent him sprawling to the floor, clutching his head in pain, though his furious gaze never left Linda. His parents exchanged a glance, then charged at my mother, and in an instant the hospital room descended into chaos. How dare you hit our son? Who do you think you are? My mother was no match for them. She was beaten back easily. She looked helplessly toward Linda for aid, but Linda stumbled out of bed and ignored her completely. This can't be real. It can't be. There must be some mistake. Linda collapsed at my feet, clutching my pants with trembling hands, tears streaming down her face. Sister, this is all just a dream, isn't it? I put away my phone, which had been recording the entire scene, and arched a brow. Linda, this is as real as it gets. But don't worry, you're about to die soon anyway. I nodded toward Kyle, sprawled on the floor. You still have your true love, don't you? Wasn't she the one who said that true love could conquer everything? So why was she crying now, begging for a second chance? Chapter 7. After the hospital incident, Linda and Kyle's relationship hit rock bottom. Their so-called marriage disintegrated completely, and their parents ended up fighting as well. I uploaded the full recording of their disgrace to my account, raw, unedited, and painfully real. Just days earlier, they had been the internet's favorite devoted couple, idolized for their dramatic love story. But once the truth was exposed, once everyone saw how they turned on each other, a moment death loomed, their fairy tale shattered. Fans realized they'd been played. Thousands unfollowed in disgust, flooding the comments with curses. Brand sponsors immediately terminated contracts and demanded hefty breach of contract penalties. But Linda and Kyle were far too busy falling apart to care about any of it. Despite their broken relationship, the marriage certificate had already been issued. That bright red document, once meant to symbolize love, now looked more like a death warrant. Kyle's personality changed drastically, his tenderness long gone. Linda came to me in tears, begging for help, but I could only shrug. She had fought to marry him. Now she was the one begging to leave him. Who still had the patience to play house with her? Their health deteriorated rapidly, they lost weight, suffered from insomnia, and clumps of their hair fell out each day. They lived in constant fear, accusing each other daily. That romantic FAA they once performed for the live stream audience was nowhere to be found. In desperation, they downed handfuls of pills, trying to delay the inevitable. But it was already too late. One day, after yet another shouting match, Kyle came to see me. This time, the light in his eyes was gone. "Nina," he rasped, "I know I was wrong. I finally understand my feelings now that I'm dying." His voice broke as he reached for my hand. But I shook him off in disgust. "Nina, please," he begged, tears streaking down his cheeks. "Give me one more chance, help me. Sell this apartment. Use the money for my treatment. I promise, when I recover, I'll treat you right." So that was it. Another attempt to manipulate me into saving him. How shameless could one man be? My kindness in the past had only ever earned me betrayal. I wasn't about to make the same mistake again. I sighed and glanced toward the figure behind him. "If I sell the apartment and give you the money, what about Linda?" Kyle snapped. "She doesn't matter." She doesn't matter." I couldn't help but laugh, meeting Linda's venomous gaze from across the room. "Forget it," I said lightly. "Why don't you two just let your true love save you?" Chapter 8. Both sets of parents spent a fortune acquiring a so-called miracle pill from a wandering monk. One dose, they claimed, could cure all illnesses. But there was only one pill. I didn't believe in such nonsense. Kyle and Linda, however, clung to it as their final lifeline. Linda dropped to her knees before Kyle, clutching his leg as she wept hysterically. "Kyle, you said you love me more than anything. Then let me have it. Please. My illness is worse than yours. Once I'm cured, I'll find another one for you. I swear." Kyle kicked her away with a snarl. "If it weren't for your stupid idea of drinking pesticide, I wouldn't be like this. The pill's mine. You hear me? Mine. Don't even think about it." Their parents erupted again, shouting and arguing until the room nearly burst apart. I offered them a suggestion: why not draw lots? Whoever drew the higher number would take the pill. The other could accept fate. They argued for hours. But in the end, they could only agree to my proposal. I prepared two identical paper slips and placed them on the table. Linda snatched one first, while Kyle, cursing under his breath, grabbed the other. When they unfolded them, Kyle's face broke into a grin of relief. He held his paper up proudly, a bold, black 6 staring back at them. But before he could even speak, Linda, quick as lightning, lunged forward, seized the box holding the pill, and swallowed it whole. Kyle's smile froze on his face. After a long pause, Kyle let out a desperate roar and threw Linda to the ground, beating her mercilessly. Linda protected her head, but a twisted smile spread across her face. "Didn't you say you loved Nina? Well then, go to hell and love her there." My mother burst into laughter, completely ignoring the murderous glares from Kyle's parents. I couldn't help but laugh at the scene in front of me. All their talk about true love being invincible, yet here they were, turning their backs on it in an instant to save their own lives. In the end, they were both just as hypocritical as each other. And in a twisted way, they were perfect for each other. As Linda was almost beaten to death, I reluctantly called the police. After all, I wasn't done watching the show. I didn't want her to die so easily. Although Linda had been severely beaten, it seemed like the medicine had actually worked. Her complexion grew rosier by the day, and her body was recovering quickly. In contrast, Kyle's condition worsened rapidly. Since Linda had taken the only life-saving drug, Kyle's condition plummeted, and he was now hanging by a thread. Linda faked concern a few times. But each time Kyle cursed her out. As his life force began to slip away, his parents came to visit with an absurd request. They wanted Kyle to leave behind a child. After all, the money for the medicine had been split between both families. And since Linda had taken the drug, morally and legally, she owed them a child. With a grandchild, their son wouldn't have died in vain. Otherwise, they wanted their money back. Listening to their ridiculous demands, I couldn't help but feel sorry for Kyle. Even as he was dying, his parents refused to give him any freedom. All the last of my mother's pension was spent on Linda. And now there was nothing left to withdraw. Despite Linda's reluctance, she was forced to comply and sleep with Kyle. But after just one night, he coughed up blood and fell unconscious. His parents rushed him to the hospital. But before they could even get halfway, he had died. Kyle was gone. Linda sighed in relief. That same night, she started another live stream, hoping to rake in the sympathy-driven traffic she once relied on. But I had already uploaded the video revealing how she had stolen the antidote that should have gone to Kyle. Just a few days ago, she was shouting about heading to the afterlife with him, but now she was terrified of death herself. My sympathy for her evaporated, and the audience, seeing her hypocrisy, turned on her. She was even reported and had her account banned. Furious, Linda threw her phone against the wall, and I watched her lose control, standing in the doorway. Insecticide is a poison that cannot be cured. I never believed there was a magic cure. Chapter 9. After Kyle's death, as his legal wife, Linda was forced to inherit all his debts. But she had no money to pay. Undeterred, Linda shamelessly demanded the dowry from her wedding. But her so-called friends quickly blocked her, leaving her fuming at home. Debt collectors came knocking daily. And Linda had hoped to hide out in my house, avoiding them. But I had already sold the house behind her back. When the new owner came, she and my mother were forced to leave. Linda finally snapped, cursing me in front of everyone, calling me heartless. But the onlookers saw through her act. They knew exactly who Linda was. So they only watched her make a fool of herself. No one stood by her side. And soon, the debt collectors began using violence. They blocked her on the streets daily, even threatening to sell her to the north of Myanmar. Linda lived in constant fear, her mind unraveling. With no way out, Linda secretly stole my mother's last bit of money and fled in the dead of night. When my mother realized, she collapsed to the floor in shock. Linda had planned to escape the country and avoid the debt, but when she reached the airport, she suddenly began convulsing and collapsed. Fortunately, having fulfilled she was rushed to the hospital by kind-hearted strangers. When I arrived at the hospital, she was pale, her eyes darkened, her body barely hanging on to life. It seemed that her time was running out. "How is this possible?" she screamed, her eyes wide with terror. "I took the medicine. How could it not work?" I pulled out my phone and handed it to her. My voice tinged with sarcasm. "That wasn't an antidote. The monk who sold it to you was arrested yesterday for fraud. The so-called antidote was just clay pills. You didn't realize?" Linda stared at me blankly, her eyes hollow, her lips trembling but silent. She had rejoiced for so long, even willing to kill her lover. But in the end, her disease never improved. She covered her face and finally broke into sobs. Even if she regretted it now, it was too late. They drank the insecticide of their own volition. I never forced them. I sighed, ignoring her cries as I walked out of the room without looking back. A few days later, my friend informed me of Linda's death. My mother, crying, went to collect her body, but was blocked at the door by debt collectors. Since Linda was gone, my mother was now left to inherit her precious daughter's astronomical debts. At 65, my mother was just the right age to repay them. I looked out the window, the sunlight warm on my face. I stretched lazily and couldn't help but smile. Luck goes around, comes around. Ivan, my husband, once the top scorer in the college entrance examination, and now the CEO of a publicly listed company. Together, we possess assets worth over 100 billion yuan. We grew up as childhood sweethearts. But our marriage has been far from blissful. His temperament is violent. And after drinking, he often subjects me to brutal domestic abuse. I know he harbors deep resentment towards me for tearing him apart from his first love a decade ago. During yet another episode of his abuse, he gripped my neck tightly and snarled, "Autumn, just die already." In that moment of utter despair, I thought, if I must die, I might as well take him with me. Summoning all my strength, I pulled him with me as we plunged from the 30th floor, our bodies shattering upon impact. But when I opened my eyes again, I found that both of us had returned to the day before the college entrance exam. We had both been reborn. Ivan was son of Enda. In this life, I swear, you can chase after your first love, and I'll pursue my own splendid future. Autumn, even without you, I'll still be the top scorer, and I'll still amass billions. But this time, you won't be able to come between me and my first love. These were the first words we exchanged upon meeting again in this new life. In our previous life, his first love was our classmate Serena. She was beautiful and came from a wealthy family 8-room socialite. However, her academic performance was lacking. She was consistently at the bottom of the class. But with her family's wealth, she never seemed to care. Ivan and I were different. We lived next door to each other and both came from single-parent households. I was raised by my mother, who ran a small business, while Ivan and his mother scraped by with her street vending. Before Serena entered the picture, Ivan was a good kid, sunny, respectful, intelligent, and hardworking. He ranked among the top 10 students in the school. But after meeting Serena, everything changed. He started skipping classes, getting into fights, and picked up smoking. In our senior year, I, who had harbored feelings for Ivan for a long time, couldn't bear to watch him spiral. I forced him to attend extra tutoring sessions, deleted Serena's calls from his phone, and even brought his mother along to disrupt their dates. This led Ivan to hold a grudge against me. You? The top scorer? Ivan. Let's compete fairly this time and see who comes out on top. Autumn. You'll always be beneath me. It was true in our past life, and it will be true in this one. In our previous life, just before the college entrance exam, Ivan complained to me, "Autumn, don't you have any sense? My grades have always been lower than yours. Can't you let me surpass you just once to make my mom happy?" During the exam, I don't know what came over me, perhaps it was a moment of foolish affection, but I intentionally filled out my answer sheet incorrectly. My final score was significantly lower than usual, by about 60 points, which coincidentally matched Ivan's typical score. I thought he would be pleased. But to my surprise, Ivan's results came back 40 points higher than his usual, making him the top scorer in the city. Autumn, I didn't expect you to perform so poorly. See? With just a bit of effort, I not only surpassed you, but left you far behind. His arrogant tone and disdainful expression are etched into my memory. This time, Ivan, I won't make the same mistake. Ivan, just wait and see. The outcome is still uncertain. Autumn, I'm telling you, you're not worthy. This year's top scorer position is mine. With that, Ivan turned and headed to the exam hall. I followed behind, staring at his back, a surge of anger rising within me. The day after the exam, Ivan's mother was already boasting to the neighbors, claiming her son was the top scorer in Zhongcheng City. Oh my! Look at my Ivan. So promising. He's like a reincarnation of the god of literature. This year's top scorer title is definitely his. Congratulations, Ivan's mom. You've really raised a remarkable son. He'll surely earn you a fortune in the future. Ivan is also very filial. You're in for a life of comfort, Ivan's mom. Indeed, Ivan is destined for greatness. The neighbors chimed in with their praises. Overhearing this, I couldn't help but think Ivan was being overly optimistic, giving his mother such high hopes. What if things didn't turn out as expected? Just then, my mom pulled me along to go grocery shopping, and we ran into Ivan at the door. Autumn, with your 560 points, are you still planning to attend Zhongcheng Normal University? Ivan sneered. Ivan, Isn't it a bit premature to be declaring yourself the top scorer? What if something unexpected happens and your mom ends up disappointed? I teased him, genuinely concerned about his mother's potential heartbreak. There are still over 20 days before the results are announced. I deliberately raised my voice to remind her. My mom nudged me with her elbow, signaling me to keep quiet. Ivan's mom took my hand and said, "Autumn, you're a good kid. But your temper needs some work. Even if your scores aren't as good as Ivan's. If you end up with him, you should strive to improve." Oh, come on. It's not like I'm determined to be with Ivan. Let me make this clear in front of everyone, Ivan and I are just classmates. Not even friends. Besides, he already has a girlfriend. Didn't you know? His girlfriend? Who is she? Serena. Our classmate, the one who's always at the bottom of the class rankings. At that moment, Ivan quickly pulled me aside, pointed a finger at my nose, veins bulging, and said, "Autumn, I'm warning you, mind your own business." What? You still want to control me in this life too? It seemed that no matter how many chances he got at life, Ivan's violent temper would never change. Relax. I wouldn't bother with you even if I had nothing better to do. Do I look that idle to you? I wasn't scared of him at all. In this lifetime, I swore I'd never be anyone's pushover. I'm out of here. No time to waste on you. I'm going on a date with Serena. Ivan looked smug. Bye. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. Honestly, hadn't fulfilled my obsession. Just looking at him felt like it would give me a sty. Wow. The sun must be rising from the west. Autumn's really not interfering anymore. Ivan muttered as he walked off. I thought to myself, Ivan, isn't this exactly what you always wanted? In this life. Serena still looked like a classic rich girl. Their so-called date was nothing but a shopping spree with Ivan footing the bill. Of course. In the mall. His hands were already full of shopping bags. But Serena was still buying more. After a symphony of swiping cards and a rhythmic chirping of the POS machine, Ivan's wallet was already hurting. But Serena, still full of enthusiasm, began talking about her dreams of becoming a movie star. Ivan, with my looks and everything, don't you think I should be in films? If I get the chance, would you support me? Serena blinked her large eyes at him. Of course I would. You're the most beautiful girl in the world. I'll always support you. I just know you'll be a big star someday. Ivan said excitedly. Then come sign me up. There's an audition upstairs for a female lead. They say if you pay for training and pass the evaluation, you can shoot ads first and then maybe land a movie role. Wouldn't it be a shame to miss such a great opportunity? Serena leaned sweetly on Ivan's shoulder. How much is the training fee? I'll pay. I'll support your dreams. No matter what. Ivan blurted out. Then he remembered he was no longer the billionaire tycoon. Standing in front of Serena now was a broke guy. His face fell. Serena. We've already spent so much. There's nothing left on my card. Can we wait a little before paying for the course? Wait. You're asking me to wait? Ivan? I can't wait. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. You keep saying you love me. But I think you're just bluffing. Serena's face darkened. But my card really won't go through. Can we do it later? When I have money again? Ivan asked cautiously. Later? When is later? You clearly don't support me. And besides, if I become a big star, wouldn't that bring you pride too? I'll have $1 billion fortune in the future. Then, let out a lull sigh. No matter how many movies you want to shoot or things you want to buy, I'll be able to afford it all. You must be delusional. $1 billion? Even my dad doesn't have that kind of money. Fine. I know another way. Give me your phone and your ID. Serena said, reaching out. Hold your ID up to your chest, yes. Like that. Serena's delicate fingers tapped a few times on Ivan's phone. There. Done. Now we have money, 80,000. 60 for the training. And I'll use the remaining 20 to buy that bag, Serena said, pointing at a nearby handbag. Ivan looked down at the phone. Wait a second. This is a loan app, isn't it? There's interest to pay. What? You can't even pay back 80,000? How are you going to give me any kind of happiness? Serena crossed her arms, turning away in a huff. Well, I can enter the math competition. The prize is 100,000. That should be enough to repay the loan and interest. Don't be mad. Serena. I'll go pay now and then sign you up. Ivan dashed off to the counter to pay. Serena turned to the sales associate and said, So, old classmate. You must have earned a nice commission this time. Right? The Salister grinned. Serena. You're incredible, just borrowed 80,000 and like it was nothing. Serena shrugged nonchalantly. It's not like I have to pay it back anyway. Who cares? With his mind on the math competition, Ivan hurriedly finished his date with Serena after burning through the entire loan. At my doorstep, he stuck his head in the door. Did you register me for the math competition? Strange question. Why would I register you? What do you have to do with me? I replied bluntly. He sulked and walked away. Half an hour later, he knocked again. Here. The registration form for the math competition. At least take it to school and hand it in. Okay? Nope. Do it yourself. I flatly refused. Come on. Even regular classmates help each other with this kind of thing. I've got another date with Serena later. Without waiting for a reply, Ivan shoved the form into my hands. Ugh. Now I'm tangled up with him again. Disgusting. I muttered under my breath. In my previous life, I gave up the math competition for Ivan. I had won countless trophies since childhood, was considered the most promising candidate by teachers. But after much hesitation, I never submitted my form. Ivan's mom had fallen ill, and they needed money. I thought he could win the $10,000 prize and solve the crisis. I even helped care for his mom so he could focus on preparing for the competition. And he did win $10,000 in prize money. But then he said, Autumn, good thing you had the sense not to enter. Losing to me every time would have been embarrassing. Right? In this life. I submitted my registration without hesitation. I was ready to compete head-on with Ivan. 10 days passed. The 80,000 Ivan borrowed still hadn't been repaid. But unable to resist Serena's nagging, he borrowed another 30,000 and within 3 days, she had spent it all again. Serena. I'm really out of money. Ivan was truly panicking. If he didn't win the prize from the upcoming math competition, he had no idea how he would repay his debts. But then he quickly reminded himself, in the future, he would be worth billions. This hardship was only temporary. Just then, Victor and his debt collecting crew showed up. We heard you're this year's top scorer in the college entrance exam. How could you not have money? Got money to spend but not to repay? Trying to dodge your debts? Please. Brothers. I'm begging you, just give me a few more days. I'm about to participate in a provincial level math competition. The prize is 100. Jerry won. I promise I'll pay you back first thing. Ivan bowed in desperation. All right. Since you're the top scorer, I'll give you one last chance. But if you don't pay up in 10 days, I won't be walking away empty-handed like today. Either give me the money or lose a finger. Your choice. As they left, each of them kicked Ivan once before cursing and walking off. On the day of the math competition, Ivan left home early. I thought he was heading to the exam venue to prepare in advance. But even after the test ended, he never showed up. Turns out, Ivan had gone on a date with Serena that morning. It wasn't until the competition was nearly over that he remembered it was today. As I was walking out of school with my classmate Cindy, we saw Ivan rushing in frantically. He stormed up to me and shouted, Autumn. You conniving bitch, did you do this on purpose? Cindy and I were completely baffled. Ivan. Watch your mouth. What did I do to you? I stood my ground. Did you purposely not turn in my registration form? Why didn't I get the exam notification? Ivan was livid. Veins bulging on his neck. And it looked like he might punch me at any second. Cindy quickly pulled me back a step. I submitted your form. If you didn't get the notice, that's not my fault. I enunciated each word clearly. You did it on purpose. You don't want me to win the prize money. You can't stand to see me succeed. Ivan jabbed his finger toward my face. Ivan. Do you think the prize money only belongs to you? Just entering the competition doesn't guarantee you'll win. Cindy stood up for me. Why don't we go ask Drive? Q to check your registration form? If it's there, I want you to shut your mouth. A crowd had started to gather at the school gate, and I didn't want to argue anymore. In Drive. QIU's office. I explained the situation. In a short while, Daka pulled out a stack of registration forms and quickly found Ivan's. Here's your registration form. Dr. Q said as he handed it over. But if the form is here, why didn't I get the exam notification? Ivan asked, confused. Did you read the registration rules carefully, Ivan? To participate in this competition, a student must have maintained a math score of at least 135 over the past 3 years. If not, they must submit a special application and be recommended by a teacher. Dr. Q flipped the form over and pointed out the requirements. Ivan exploded in anger and pointed at me. Autumn. Why didn't you tell me? You knew, didn't you? Why should I remind you? Why blame others for your own mistakes? I responded calmly. In my heart, I thought, in our past life, you spent all of sophomore year fooling around with Serena, which tanked your grades. And you expect me to do what I did last time, write your application? Chase down teachers for recommendations? Dream on. Ivan, what out? What are you ranting about? This is a school. Registration is your responsibility. Don't blame your classmates. Please leave. Dr. Q said, now clearly annoyed. Just then, a bright, cheerful-looking young man walked into the office. Dr. Kuraif. Is there anything I can help with? He asked as he looked over at us. Before anyone could respond, Cindy spoke up. Cousin, Nedafai, what are you doing here? She turned to Drive. Q and added, this is my cousin Connor. He's a student at Zhongcheng University's College of Science. He's also competing in the math contest. Connor from Zhongcheng University? The provincial math competition champion from last year? Dr. QIU's demeanor immediately softened. Dr. Q. I've heard so much about you. You're a renowned scholar in Zhongcheng. I've always hoped to become your student. Connor said humbly. Cousin, congrats. Your wish might just come true. Drive. Q is about to start teaching at Zhongcheng University. Cindy said excitedly. That's great. We all said in unison. Deep down, I had just found my dream university. But Drive. Q. What should I do now? Ivan still clung to hope. Wait for the next competition. Everyone must face the consequences of their own mistakes. Dr. Q shook his head with a sigh. Outside the school, Ivan still wouldn't let it go. Autumn. You owe me 100. 0 yuan. You knew the rules and didn't tell me. Pay me back. He was like a mangy dog. Ivan. Are you out of your mind? This is clearly your own fault. Cindy snapped. I don't owe you anything. And I'm not obligated to remind you. I said firmly, pulling Cindy along with me. But Ivan, like a stray dog, grabbed my arm tightly. It felt like being bitten. Let go of her. Or I'll call the police. Connor's voice rang out behind us. Even if you had entered with my cousin in the competition, you still wouldn't have won the prize. Cindy added coldly. Ivan, the classic bully who only picks on the weak, shrank back under Connor's glare and finally let go, muttering, Autumn. We're not done yet. Still, Ivan acted like he had a backup plan. But while shopping with Serena, he was cornered by Victor and his gang. So? Did you win the prize money? Where's our cash? Victor asked, grabbing Ivan by the collar after beating him up. Victor. I'll have money soon. My exam results are about to be released. I'll be the top scorer. There'll be prize money. I promise I'll repay you. Ivan begged on his knees. You think I'm that easy to brush off? Victor sneered, slapping Ivan several times. Serena. Give Victor your purse. It's worth over 20. 0 yuan. Ivan shouted. Serena instinctively shielded her purse. Give it here. Victor yanked it from her hands and sneered. Girl, why are you with a loser like this? Come with me instead. Don't touch her. Ivan leapt up to shield Serena. Trying to play the hero? You're more like a clown. Fine. Top scorer. I'll give you a few more days. Victor patted Ivan mockingly on the head and left. Finally, having fulfilled the day of the exam results arrived. Ivan's mother actually hung a red banner at the entrance of the alley, which read, "Congratulations to Ivan for winning the top score in the college entrance exam." I sneered, waiting for him to be embarrassed. At 10 a.m. The exam results began to be released one after another, and a group of neighbors gathered around Ivan as he checked his scores. Ivan kept refreshing the results page on his phone, and finally, the number 692 appeared on the screen. The onlookers burst into applause, and a big smile spread across Ivan's mother's face. He smugly held the phone in front of my face. "Autumn, open your dog eyes and look carefully. 692 points. The top scorer has to be me." I looked closely. It really did say 692. The exact same score he had in his previous life. 692 doesn't necessarily mean you're the top scorer. Don't forget. The full score is 720. There are plenty of people who did better than you, I said, refusing to back down. Heh. You're just being stubborn. The facts are right in front of you. Ivan, am simply better than you, Autumn. But deep down, I felt a little uneasy. Could it be that, even in this life, Ivan's luck was still that good? Just then, went out a low sigh. A crowd of media reporters swarmed into our shabby alley, cutting off our conversation. Two familiar reporters were chatting nearby. "You got here fast." "Of course. I heard the top scorer lives in this alley. We got to get the first-hand interview." "So who's the top scorer? Didn't you see the banner?" "Ivan." Oh. Right. Everyone. I'm Ivan. Feel free to ask me anything." Ivan, afraid the reporters didn't recognize him, hurried to introduce himself. "Yes, Evie too. This is our Ivan. I'm Ivan's mother." She joined in. The reporters immediately surrounded Ivan and his mother. "My son is the reincarnation of a literary star. So he was destined to be this year's top scorer," Ivan's mom boasted to the media. "Ivan, how do you feel right now?" a reporter asked. "Very excited, but I also expected this," Ivan replied proudly. "Now that you scored the highest, is there anything you want to share with us?" "I must thank my mom. She worked tirelessly to support me through school, and I want to thank my lucky star. Meeting her gave me the motivation to succeed." Another round of cheers erupted. I watched Ivan's performance quietly from the corner of the crowd. Suddenly, Ivan pointed at me. The crowd followed his finger and looked over. "That's the girl, also my classmate. You can interview her too. Ask her what it feels like to be crushed by the top scorer her entire life." Ivan directed the cameras toward me. "Why don't you check your score too, Autumn? You'll have to face it sooner or later, right?" Ivan looked into the camera as he spoke. Fuming, I grabbed my phone and quickly entered my ID number. The signal in the alley was terrible. I stared at the screen as it kept refreshing. Finally, heading till YMCA. The page loaded, but there was no total score. Every subject field was blank. What was going on? Panic started to creep in. Ivan took a glance and burst into laughter. "Autumn, did you turn in a blank exam?" "Yeah, Autumn. Be honest. Did you do something shady behind your parents' back? Why else would there be no score?" Ivan's mom chimed in. My mom couldn't take it anymore. "Ivan's mom, how can you say something like that? Just because your son did well doesn't mean you get to put other kids down." The neighbors all nodded in agreement, clearly thinking Ivan's mom had gone too far. "Mom, don't pay them any attention. That's how people act when they're drunk on success," I said as I stood with my mom, not planning to argue any further. Just then, what art a lull sigh. The sound of drums and gongs echoed from outside the alley, getting closer and louder. Our school principal, along with a group of teachers and a drum corps, entered the alley. Ivan rushed forward to shake the principal's hand. "Thank you, Principal. Thank you to the school and all the teachers. Congratulations, Ivan. You did well," the principal replied as he shook Ivan's hand firmly. "Thank you for your support. I feel incredibly honored that you came personally." Ivan clung to the principal's hand. But he soon noticed the principal looking around, as if searching for someone. "Excuse me, Does Autumn live here too? The principal asked Ivan. Yes. Autumn lives here too. But she didn't do as well as my son. Ivan's mom interjected eagerly. No, haven't fulfilled my obsession. No. Ma'am. That's not quite accurate. Autumn did very well. The principal said, scanning the crowd until he spotted me in the corner. He walked over quickly and shook my hand. Autumn. Congratulations. You did great. You're the pride of our school. I was stunned. My mom stood frozen beside me. But I just checked there were no scores. What's going on? I asked in confusion. You probably missed the small nun at the bottom. Open the page again and check carefully. The principal said with a smile. I reopened the app and finally saw the updated results page. At the bottom, in small print, it read, your score ranks in the top 10 in the province. Detailed results will be updated within 3 days. I smiled, tears welling up in my eyes. My mom hugged me, overwhelmed with emotion. Ivan stood to the side, watching coldly. His mother turned to the crowd and muttered, top 10 in the province? What's so great about that? She's still not as good as my son. The top scorer. Top scorer? The principal looked puzzled. He finally noticed the banner hanging above the alley entrance. Congratulations to Ivan for winning the top score in the college entrance exam. He was about to explain to Ivan's mom why scores might not immediately appear on the platform when a reporter in the crowd suddenly shouted, breaking news. The top scorer of this year's college entrance exam has been announced. It's Autumn from Zhongqing 3 High School. It's absolutely true. I got this exclusive scoop first-hand. In an instant, everyone was stunned. The reporters went into a frenzy, and countless flashes from cameras turned towards me. Ivan's eyes nearly popped out of his head in disbelief. He shouted, impossible. That can't be. You've made a mistake. The top scorer is me. Ivan. Me. His mother pulled on the frenzied Ivan while stomping her feet and covering her face in disbelief. Suddenly, the principal, teachers, and reporters swarmed around me and my mother, surrounding us completely. I smiled a genuine smile from the heart. Looking at the giant red banner in front of me, I found it incredibly ironic. Ivan, haven't fulfilled my obsession. You're finished. In my past life, I had been so blinded by love that I missed out on the top scorer title. It should have rightfully been mine. But in this life, I've taken it back. At that moment, Doctor appeared from the crowd, holding a thick envelope, and walked toward me. Autumn. Congratulations. You won first place in this year's provincial mathematics competition. I came here today specifically to give you the prize money 100 yuan. He solemnly placed the envelope into my hands. You beat last year's math champion. Well done. Dr. Q patted me on the shoulder. My eyes welled up with tears. Everything I lost in my past life, I've taken it all back in this one. Staying away from Ivan was the luckiest decision I ever made. Autumn really is having a double celebration today. Let's all give her another round of applause. The principal beamed with joy as he held my mother's hand and said, top scorer's mother. You've raised a true talent for the nation. I looked at my mother, though she wore a smile. Her tears had long been flowing. Because I was a girl. She had endured 18 years of ridicule in this alleyway, especially from Ivan's mother. But today, she could finally hold her head high. At that moment, the look in Ivan's eyes was like they could burst into flames. After Ivan's dream of becoming the top scorer was crushed, Victor and his gang came back in full force to collect their debt. Kid, haha, you playing games with me? You said you were the top scorer and had loads of prize money. Where's the money? Victor was furious after giving Ivan a brutal beating. Ivan curled up on the ground, his face bruised and swollen. I can repay you. My girlfriend's family is rich. You'll borrow from her. And I know how to code. They'll have money soon. Victor, just give me a few more days. Kid, I'm not heartless. I'll give you one last chance. In 3 days, bring me 50 yuan. If not, I'll take one of your fingers. Let's go. Yeah. 50,000 first. Maybe I can borrow it from Shan to get through this. Ivan muttered to himself. Shan, can you lend me 50 yuan? Ivan had barely spoken before Shanshan erupted on the other end of the line. Ivan! You still have the nerve to call me? You liar! You kept telling me you were the top scorer. I must have been blind to fall for someone like you. And no, I don't have money. My dad's just an ordinary worker. My family doesn't own any company. Also, having fulfilled lied Sasha. Don't ever contact me again. With that, Shanshan hung up without hesitation. I didn't expect Shanshan to be in trouble herself, and I still tried to borrow money from her. I'm such a pathetic man. But where am I going to get 50,000 yuan in 3 days? Ivan stared blankly at his phone. As the 3-day deadline approached, Ivan became desperate. Thinking hard, he thought, why not use the money mom saved for my college expenses? It's for me anyway, it should be fine. Acting on impulse, Ivan waited for his mom to go grocery shopping, then pried open the small box where she kept the savings. He took the 50,000 yuan and then ransacked the place, trying to make it look like a burglary. What he didn't expect was I happened to witness it all through my window. Oh my God! Someone broke into my house and stole the money I saved for my son's college. How am I supposed to live? Ivan's mother was bawling hysterically on the ground. After Ivan's mother had gone around the neighborhood bragging that her son was the top scorer, she had lost the goodwill of many neighbors. She often said they'd soon move out of this poor neighborhood and move among educated, cultured, wealthy people. Now that her family was in trouble, the neighbors just watched coldly from their doorsteps. I couldn't stand it anymore. I went over and helped Ivan's mom up from the ground. Auntie, maybe you should call the police or ask your precious son. What do you mean? Ivan's mom stopped crying, still wiping away tears. I don't know anything else. I turned and walked away. That evening, loud noises, yelling, and crying erupted from Ivan's house. Then, what on a lull sigh? A furious knocking rattled our door. Autumn. Get out here. Get out here now. I opened the door and leaned against the frame. Ivan. What the hell are you yelling for? He stormed up, grabbed my throat, and pinned me against the door. I could barely breathe. Autumn. You just can't stand to see me succeed, can you? Who told you to open your mouth? Let go of me. Let go. What does this have to do with me? I pounded my fists weakly against his chest. Was it you? Did you tell my mom I took the money? Was it? He gripped even tighter. I felt like I was suffocating. Luckily, my mom came home just in time and shoved Ivan off of me. What are you doing? Trying to kill her? My mom grabbed a broom from behind the door. I quickly stopped her. She wasn't a match for Ivan. Autumn. Listen to me, this was just a warning. Next time, I won't go easy on you. Ivan threw down a threat and left. My mom comforted me. Ivan's finished. Don't bother with him anymore. As for Zhongcheng University, ever since I got to know Connor, he had told me so much about it. It made me long to go there even more. In my past life, Ivan got admitted directly to Zhongcheng University because he was the top scorer. And me? I missed out on it for him. I must have been unbelievably stupid. So, this time when I filled out my college application, I chose Zhongcheng University without hesitation. That's right. Connor. I applied to Zhongcheng University. So you'll be my senior now. I smiled brightly. Great. Junior. You'll definitely get admitted. I'll be there to welcome you when the semester starts. Connor's voice was especially gentle. As for Ivan, in order to win back his first love, he actually applied to Zhongcheng Vocational and Technical College just to attend the same school as her. Ivan, you lied to me again. Someone who scored over 600, going to a technical school? Serena asked, stunned. Serena, don't be mad. I'm telling the truth this time. I really did apply to Zhongcheng Vocational and Technical College. I want to be with you every single day from now on. Ivan kept coaxing his first love. When Ivan's mother heard the news, it hit her like a thunderbolt. She grabbed Ivan and wailed. Ivan, are you trying to kill me with anger? You're giving up a perfectly good university to attend a vocational school? After everything I'd done for you. Before she could finish, she fainted on the spot. To keep pleasing Serena, and to repay his online debts, Ivan was ready to follow Shan's advice to become a half-naked male model live streamer. But first, he built up a persona as a sweet and innocent college boy. Slogans like, scored 692 on the college entrance exam, but chose a tech school for love-defying fate and never dipping up. Chose love over glory, the young couple's entrepreneurial journey. Single mom's devoted son risked everything at 18 for love and family. Thanks to these catchy gimmicks, he quickly gained a following. With Serena's cooperation, their seductive performances and live streams shot up in popularity. And business boomed. Ivan, business is doing great, why don't you invest more money into it? Serena suggested. I can't. Serena, this isn't sustainable long term. We should wait for a good opportunity before investing more. Ivan refused. Ivan, you clearly don't love me. I'm thinking about our future. But you're too timid to do anything big. Serena snapped, her eyes blazing. But Serena, that's not it. Ivan stammered. Ivan, you do love me, right? You'll do what's best for our future, won't you? Serena's stream of questions wore Ivan down. Under Serena's manipulation, he continued taking out more online loans, using money to maintain a glamorous image, dreaming of massive profits through viewer tips. But he didn't expect that borderline explicit content couldn't last forever. Ivan's livestream account was soon banned, and his business shut down completely. Not only that, he was fined 200 Azar yuan. With his previous loans added in, Ivan now owed over $1 million. And yet, he still fantasized that 10 years later, he would become a billionaire CEO. Ivan, I can't go on like this. You keep saying you'll be some CEO in the future. But you can't even manage a tiny live stream channel. You've dragged me into this mess too. I can't take it anymore. Serena complained endlessly. Serena, trust me. I really will be a billionaire one day. Ivan insisted. Wake up from your CEO fantasy and start thinking about how you're going to pay back that million yuan. Serena said coldly, grabbing her bag and walking away. Serena, don't go. I can start over. Yes. I can live stream an entrepreneurship journey, I can make a comeback. Ivan mumbled to himself, completely deluded. As for me, I successfully entered Zhongcheng University and began a wonderful college life. Every day, I moved from one classroom to another, participated in all kinds of clubs, and occasionally worked as a research assistant for Drive. I also had the talented Connor Sr. by my side. Ever since I left Ivan, I felt like I was truly reborn. But fate had its own plans. To my surprise, I ran into Ivan again on campus. He was using my name to recruit students into his live stream project. I caught him red-handed. Ivan, this is fraud. You know that, right? I confronted him. Autumn, how am I committing fraud? You're a student at Zhongcheng University, that's true, isn't it? Ivan looked shameless. Please stop using my name. If you don't, I'll sue you. I warned him again. Autumn, are you threatening me now? Don't be ungrateful. Ivan still tried to act tough in front of me. This isn't a threat. It's a real warning. A voice came from behind me. Connor. Ivan, don't ever use my girlfriend's name to scam people again. Connor added. Your girlfriend? What? Autumn? You climbed the social ladder. Huh? Ivan sneered. Yes. That's right. Ivan, stay away from me. You're nothing but bad luck. I said firmly. In this life, I wouldn't show him any mercy. I wanted him as far away as possible. Fine, hadn't falselt live sigh. Autumn, you've got guts now. Just wait and see. Ivan cursed as he stormed off. I'm sorry. Autumn. I said that just now so he'd stop bothering you. Connor scratched his head, his face turning red. I should be the one thanking you. Senior. Thank you for always looking out for me. I replied, a bit shy, my heart pounding like a startled deer. At that moment, I felt a spark inside me, like a warm current flowing through my heart. Perhaps this is what love truly feels like. Looking back on my past life, always groveling to Ivan, I realized I never even felt what real love was. I mentally cursed my former self 1,000 times for being so foolish. Autumn. I like you. Will you be my girlfriend? Connor's voice brought me back to the moment. Senior. I like you too. I bowed my head in embarrassment, but still responded boldly. Then, let out a lull sigh. I gave him a light kiss on the cheek. In this life, I swear I will be happy. Ivan's online loan debts kept snowballing, growing larger and larger. As a result, more and more people came to his door to collect debts. Victor, I'm begging you. Give me a little more time. I can pay it back. My live stream channel is about to collaborate with a big brand. Once the deal is signed, I'll make $3 million. I will pay it back. I swear. Kid, haven't fulfilled my obsession. I've heard that crap 100 times already. But where's the money? Huh? Victor punched Ivan in the face. Hey! Why are you hitting him? Ivan's mother happened to come in just then. Why hit him? He owes money and won't pay. Why shouldn't I hit him? Who are you to him? If not, are you going to pay his debt? Victor, his face full of menace, stepped up to Ivan's mother. How much? How much does he owe you? Ivan's mother asked, her voice trembling. 1.2 million. What? You got that kind of money? If you do, then the boys won't have to work so hard today. Victor turned to look at the thugs behind him. Hearing this, Ivan's mother felt the world spinning around her. Heavens! Who has that kind of money? Foolish boy. How could you owe that much? What am I supposed to do now? Ivan's mother burst into loud sobs. Enough already. Stop wailing. Ivan, I'm giving you one last chance today. Next time I come, you better watch your fingers. Victor made a throat-slitting gesture as he sneered and walked away. Ivan's mother saw her son bruised and battered and collapsed onto him, crying again. What kind of punishment is this? How did my son end up on such a dark path? I told you before. Stay away from that Serena. But you just wouldn't listen. Alright. Alright. Mom. What does this have to do with Serena? Ivan said impatiently, holding his bleeding mouth. Mom. If it really comes down to it, let's just sell the house. Ivan said. We can't. If we sell the house, where are we going to live? We'd be completely homeless. Ivan's mother sobbed. Just then, Monero sigh. Serena happened to come by to see Ivan and overheard the conversation between Ivan and his mother. A wicked idea came to her. She would manipulate Ivan, mashing pots, pans, and furniture with a loud racket. What are you doing? Stop it. Please. I beg you. Ivan's mother actually got down on her knees to plead. My mom, hearing the commotion from home, rushed over to help, trying to stop them. But the thugs ignored her. Old lady, better sell the house and pay your son's debt, or you won't be living here much longer. Don't touch that. That's the only thing Ivan's father left behind. Ivan's mother shouted, trying to snatch a vase from a thug. Screw you. The thug shouted, flinging his arm. Unexpectedly, the vase shattered with a crisp sound, and in the next moment, Ivan's mother tumbled off the balcony and died on the spot. My mother was also struck hard in the back of the head with a chair and fell unconscious. She was rushed to the hospital, but never woke up. At John University, Ivan and several students from the school had formed a live stream team and were preparing to sign a contract with Zhongqing's biggest drone brand under the university's name. But what Ivan didn't know was that this drone company was owned by Connor's family. Just before signing, the deal was suddenly called off. Sorry. Our research was insufficient. Your team's qualifications don't fully meet our criteria for selecting agents. Our company places high importance on the educational background of team leaders. At the very least, they must be currently enrolled in or have completed a bachelor's degree, said the company representative apologetically. The students, new to society, were at a loss. You can either all withdraw, or the unqualified member can step down. Please discuss it among yourselves. The representative suggested kindly. Ivan was dealt a blow. Being from Zhongqing Vocational College, he clearly didn't meet the requirements. After thinking it over, he had no choice but to withdraw. He sat quietly on the bench. After all his hard work leading the team, in the end, it had nothing to do with him. He had no way to express his frustration. The 3 million he had hoped for was gone. He was unwilling to accept it. Yet helpless. Then he received a call from me. Autumn. You'd better have a good reason for calling. Or you're going to regret it. Your mom is in trouble. You better get home. I ignored his arrogance and hung up. By the time Ivan rushed home, his mother had already stopped breathing. He wailed beside her body. Mom. It's my fault. It's all my fault. His heart-wrenching cries brought tears to the eyes of anyone who heard them. But who could really be blamed? As if things couldn't get worse. While mourning at his mother's memorial, the debt collectors showed up again. Kid, hi. What excuse do you have this time? You've lied to me again and again. I, Victor, am not to be trifled with. Someone. Chop off one of his fingers. Victor. I'll pay it back. I swear. Please don't cut off my finger. Ivan knelt and clutched Victor's leg, begging. Kid, haha, that finger's coming off today. This is what you get for lying to Victor. Do it, cut it off. At Victor's order. The thugs pinned Ivan down. With a flash of a blade and a scream. Ivan's pinky was severed. Remember this today, it's one finger. If you don't pay next time, it'll be another. I want to see how many fingers you have left in the end. Victor stomped on Ivan's head as his men kicked and beat him. Stop, I shouted. You've gone too far. This is a memorial for the dead, aren't you afraid of retribution? Who the hell are you? Or are you going to pay Ivan's debt? I don't know him well. He's just a neighbor. I handed the envelope to Ivan and continued. This is some money the neighbors pulled together. Use it to bury your mother. Upon hearing about the money, Victor immediately snatched the envelope from Ivan and weighed it in his hand. It's not much. But hey. Sweetheart. Maybe you can make up the rest. Victor said with a wicked grin. Yeah. She can make up the difference. Ivan, still kneeling on the ground, chimed in. You heartless bastard. Isn't it enough that you caused your mother's death? Now you want to drag me down too? I shouted at Ivan, slapping him across the face. Oh. Feisty. I like that. Victor sneered. There's something about conquering a wildcat. Since Ivan agrees. Come with me. Odd. Ivan. What kind of person are you? Who do you think you are? I retorted. Stepping back. Playing hard to get. Huh? I bet I can catch you. Come on. Guys. Victor signaled his men to grab me. Stop right there. Are you tired of living? How dare you touch my girlfriend? Connor appeared. Followed by a group of men. Connor pulled me behind him. Then slapped Victor several times. Wiping his hands in disgust afterward. His gaze turned icy as he looked at the others. Victor, stunned and about to retaliate, was stopped by his companions. That's Connor from the Southside family. We can't mess with him. Realizing the situation, Victor quickly apologized and left. And him. I pointed at Ivan. He encouraged Victor to bully me and wanted me to pay off his debts. I said, tears welling up but refusing to fall. This time, I wouldn't let Ivan bully me anymore. I would fight back. So what? You're not worth much anyway. No looks. No figure. Compared to my Serena. You're nothing, you're nothing. Ivan sneered. Holding his bleeding hand, Connor kicked Ivan to the ground. I warned you not to touch my girlfriend. This is just a lesson. Don't let it happen again. Autumn. You mentioned Serena? I found out who was behind your mother's attack. Her name is Serena. Look at this. Connor said, showing me a video on his phone. As I watched, anger surged through me, making me tremble. Ivan, when I. You fool. Serena, the one you love most, killed your mother. And you still treat her like a treasure. Your mother raised you for nothing. You're lying. Serena wouldn't do that. Ivan shouted, disbelief in his eyes. See for yourself. I held the phone up to his face. She not only killed your mother, but also caused mine to become a vegetable. I hate you. Ivan stared at the screen, stumbling backward in shock. No, this can't be true. You're all lying. Serena wouldn't do this to me. Serena. Serena! He screamed, clutching his head and running out of the funeral hall. In the hospital, my mother's condition suddenly worsened, and she passed away. I was overwhelmed with grief and rage, wanting to confront Ivan. But Connor stopped me. Let karma handle him. Don't dirty your hands. I chose a burial site for my mother on a hill in the countryside, hoping she could find peace. In my past life, she suffered from illness for 10 years before passing. This time, she still met a tragic end. And my heart ached deeply. During the funeral, a commotion arose as Ivan, dressed in black, dragged Serena through the crowd. Ivan, what are you doing? Today's my mother's funeral. I don't want to deal with you, I said, as neighbors tried to intervene. Ivan, let Autumn handle her mother's affairs. Talk later. Ivan, Evidana. Go back. Don't disrupt the ceremony. Ivan, do you want me to force you out of Zhongcheng? Connor warned. Ivan, gripping Serena tightly, pulled out a dagger from his waist. Connor immediately shielded me. Suddenly, Serena screamed. Ivan had stabbed her in the back and pushed her off the hill. I stood frozen in shock. Autumn, I don't want to owe you anymore. I avenged your mother today, Ivan said, then plunged the dagger into his own heart. He collapsed in a pool of blood. In this life, Ivan never achieved his dream of becoming a CEO. With Connor's support, I completed my mother's funeral. After graduating from university, I became a teacher and a special researcher at Drive QIU's Institute. 2 years later, Connor and I got married, and Ivan's name faded from my life forever.